All right, thank you everyone for joining the class. Let me open Visual Studio. As I informed you in the introduction, you have to install Visual Studio. Software I have already put in the Google Drive. You have to download it and install, or you can install it from Microsoft website. So the moment you go to new project, first it will ask you three drop downs. First drop down is for language selection. I selected C#. Second drop down is for operating system. I selected all platforms. All platform means my application should support to all operating systems. Third drop down is about application variety, right? Somebody says I want to do mobile application. Somebody says I want to do website or web application. Somebody says I want to go for some console application or game I want to develop. Maybe desktop application I want to develop. So based on requirement, we used to choose application variety here. In our course, maximum coverage will be web API, some services, console application, and libraries, right? So web application will be covering website, web portal, web application, web API, web services, etc. Anything related to web. But if you want to go for console application, it will help you in order to develop some program in a console. Console means executable file. So while learning C#, we will be learning in console application, just for your information. So should I go to our new notepad and I will write Hello, here. Sir. Yeah, I will get back to you. Just a minute. So console application, we will be learning for C# and anything real-time implementation, like after learning C#. Okay, you unmute and speak. First I will clarify you what you are asking because some sound is coming from your background. Yeah, something you said.
What is services?
We will know. There is something called web services, service-oriented architecture. We will be knowing that. No worry. So console application we will be using for learning C#, and to implement C#, we will be using mostly web environment. When we say web environment, it will be a website or web application, web portal, web services, anything related to web that runs in browser, right? So today, the first programming when we will do it in C#. Anybody knows why people learn C# in console application, but real time is web or Windows, etc. But still, why we learn in console application? Anybody?
Practicing the syntax.
No need to use server.
No need to use server. Okay. Anybody else? When we're learning
first before.
Even we can do the syntax in web application also, isn't it?
No, actually, it will give a basic idea of the object-oriented concepts and basic features of C#, like the syntaxes and functionalities.
That I can do it in web application also. I created on web application and I created a class, created object of that class, one class I called in other, and so on and so forth, right?
No, sir. This have all library.
Absolutely. So in your .NET Core, imagine some 100,000 libraries are there. Actually, it is 97,000 plus. Okay. So imagine 98,000 approximately libraries are there. So the moment you go to web application, out of those 98,000 libraries, only those libraries which is meant for web application, that will be activated, guys. Similarly, suppose file, new project, create new project, you went for mobile application. So they will activate only those libraries which is made for mobile application development, right? If you are going to console application, file, new project, console application. So in console application, there is no restriction. The moment you choose console application, it will activate all the libraries which is in scope. So you are learning C Sharp not for only mobile application, or not for only web application, or not for only Windows application. You are learning C Sharp for every application in future. It is different story that in this course we will be choosing implementation areas, web application development. But imagine after 1 year you want to jump to mobile application, for example. So will you learn C Sharp again for mobile application? No. You have to learn C Sharp for C Sharp. That means C Sharp can be used for mobile application, can be used for game development, can be used for any application variety like web application or console application or desktop application or game development or anything. So when you are learning C Sharp, don't restrict yourself to libraries. You say that, hey, if I want to connect to Azure Cloud also, my C Sharp console application should be able to do, right? So I want to activate all the libraries because C Sharp should not have the constraint in which application variety it is going to be implemented. So we should learn C Sharp means everything about C Sharp. So what I will do? Here I will choose console application in that case. Then I have to go for, on console application also it will ask you old version or new version. Old version is .NET Framework. New version is .NET Core, right? So some people has the misconception ki if directly we will go for .NET Core now, we will not be able to understand. Perhaps it is very difficult, right? But it's not that way treated, guys. It's not like after learning ABCD, start sentence making. It's not like that. In .NET Framework also ABCD is there. In .NET Core also ABCD is there. Got it? So the moment I selected .NET Core and C Sharp, we set as C Sharp Core. Okay, we set as C Sharp Core, which is having middleware based environment with middleware. This is also starting from basics only. We will start from basics only. So that means you need not to think if I didn't go for .NET Framework old version, perhaps I have to jump to advanced things. Nothing like that. Here also, how to make small program in .NET Core using middleware, using .NET Core C Sharp syntax, everything will start from the beginning. No need it at all, because after 2 years, this .NET Framework going to be removed from library. Already Microsoft has declared it. So it doesn't mean that people will directly jump to advanced things. No, .NET Core is not advanced. .NET Core is replacement of .NET Framework. So some people thinks, sir, .NET Core I don't want to go directly. I have seen in inquiry also people fears that is there any way you will teach us .NET Framework, after that you will go to .NET Core? Not required, because everything starts from the beginning in .NET Core. So I selected .NET Core and console application, then I will go for next. Okay. Project name, give something. Let's say I will name it as C Sharp Intro, Introduction to C Sharp. Then click on next. It will ask you which version you want. Let me tell you a little about version. Those people who have met me, I might have already told you before, but it will be repeated for you. So .NET 6, .NET 7, .NET 8. .NET 7 is short-term support version. We will never go for this. Okay. Always you have to go for long-term support version. That is called LTS. So .NET 6 is LTS and .NET 8 is also LTS. Okay. .NET 7, .NET 9, .NET 11, .NET 13, all odd numbers. it will be STS, that is patch release. Patch release means what to understand? If any bugs are there in .NET 6 now, they will bring patch releases in .NET 7. Similarly, once it is saturated, that means stable, then they will release .NET 8. Then .NET 8, suppose they released, it doesn't mean that it will be error free fully. So slowly, first month, second month, third month, up to 5-6 months, people will go on giving some bugs in that. Who? Gold partners, Microsoft Gold partners. They have rights to suggest to Microsoft to change something. So once that stability will come in .NET 8, so all those patch releases they will give in .NET 9. So never develop any software in .NET 7, .NET 9, .NET 11, etc. That is only for migrating .NET 6 into patch releases. So if anything missing in .NET 6, they will give it in 7, so that people will not every day get some new thing in .NET 6. No disturbance, right? That's why in one go, when .NET 8 comes, people will say that, okay, all stability about .NET 6 has been happened in .NET 7, let's migrate it. So .NET 7, .NET 9, .NET 11, these are all you will be using in future, no problem, but that is only for the patch release migration point of view, not for new project development point of view. So today, if I will ask you to develop a project, either you will develop in .NET 6 or you will develop in .NET 8. So ye hat gaya. That means we don't need it, right? Imagine you have two options now, .NET 6 as well as .NET 8. Which one I should choose? You have to understand. You have to read the document. Suppose you are in a real-time company, you are architect of that company, you have both the options. Now you have to see the documentation of your Microsoft. Okay, there is something called documentation. So when .NET 8 will be released, they will be providing you .NET 8 documentation as well. So after going through the documentation, if somewhere you saw that in .NET 8 feature number 27, feature number 29, these features still under development, sometimes chance is there. Sometimes if more features are pending, they will give it as a beta version. If very less features are pending, which is very rarely used by developers, then they will give stable version with LTS support. They will release it officially. But your documentation only will say what you are going to use in your project, whether it is stable or not. Feature-wise stability, your documentation will give it. Okay, Microsoft document. If you go to Google and search .NET 8 documents like that, so you will see in the Microsoft official site documents for .NET 8. So there your architect has to proceed and see if in my project what features I am going to develop. In these features, is there anything they are still in beta? Imagine they have mentioned feature number 27, feature number 29, which is for this purpose, that purpose. These are still in beta. Beta means unstable version, under improvement. So never go for .NET 8. In that case, you start .NET 6 when they will be releasing those features what you want along with .NET 8, then you have to migrate it to .NET 8. So migrating .NET 6 to .NET 8 very easy. But if you have done by the way from some misguidance .NET 7 your project development, you are gone. You cannot easily migrate to .NET 8. That's why stable version with long-term support always you should look for. Stable version with long-term support you should always look for. Whichever the recent one, always you go through the documentation. If somebody is developing in .NET 6, no need to go for documentation because 2 version more has come after that itself. There is nothing requirement to go for .NET 6 documentation to read. If my feature will be available or not available, definitely it will be available. But if you are going for .NET 8, little go through the documentation. What feature you are going to apply in your project, whether it is available or it is still in the beta version. Okay, if it is already stable, then go ahead. Who cares? .NET 8 is good only. .NET 9 not yet come. Okay, So that means in our provision we have .NET 6 also, .NET 8 also. So I will tell you both how to work with. So first I will show you how to work with the .NET 6, what is the environmental idea, then I will give you how to work with .NET 8, what is the further environmental little difference, and how to work with that also I will tell you. Okay, so should I go to .NET 6 first, and then I will go to .NET 8. So while this solution is getting created, I think Chandra sir wants to say something. He has raised the hand. Yes, sir. You want to say something to students?
Kumar sir, good morning, everyone. So some students are connected with the numbers. 3 students, 908314145, and Xiaomi M2004J19C, and Samsung SM. 3 students. Can you please ask their names and numbers?
Manjunath here.
You're connected on?
Yes. Actually, my some technical issues there. I reconnected.
90831, na?
No. Last 6-4.
Xiaomi?
Manjunath.
Okay. Xiaomi. No, 64 it is not there. Can you speak now? I will tell you which name you connected.
Hi, Manjunath here.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, Manjunath, okay.
9083.
So remaining 2 students, Xiaomi and Samsung. Can you hear us? Hi, everyone, can you please share your names and contact numbers so that we'll verify once again in the list? I have everyone except 2, 3. So please share all your details so that we can add you to WhatsApp group and Google Drive.
Samsung and Xiaomi.
Thank you, Kumar sir. I think they are unable to detect. They are thinking that we are asking someone else actually.
Maybe. I have made you co-host. You can ping them also.
No, they are not responding. That's
okay. Got it. No problem. All right. So I just created a project with the name of something like introduction to C#, like that. C#_intro. So if you see, program.cs is the first one, very first file it gives. If you see here, 2 lines automatically it writes, just like welcome to .NET. Similarly, hello world kind of lines it write. You can delete it, doesn't matter. Okay. Let me first tell you something about the middleware. Whether console application, web application, mobile application, game, development, desktop application, anything, mobile, middleware is important to understand. Few people might have already got this idea if you might have joined any of the demo class before, but few more people might be new. So let me tell you, because that is very, 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 very important before going into .NET Core. Middleware is one extra layer between your client and server. Now you will ask me, sir, what is this big terminology? Client, server, we don't know anything, sir. This is your browser, suppose. Okay, browser everybody understands. Client, server you may not understand. Now, when you are going to your browser and typing www.something.com, do you think that yahoo.com or facebook.com is opening from your laptop only? No. Using some hypertext transfer protocol, HTTP or HTTPS, it goes somewhere else, isn't it? All of you must be accepting this. It goes somewhere else. Otherwise, the internet is not available means how it is saying, why I cannot open yahoo.com. Definitely it is going somewhere else. That somewhere else is nothing but the server. That is called Yahoo server if you are opening yahoo.com. So this is called, in general, application server. Okay. So definitely there is something called request response between client and application server. So this is client, or you can say user system. So I will say it as client. This is server. Okay. When the request is going and coming as a response, there are some loophole in this technology. Before .NET Core I am talking about. First, let's understand the problem point, then we will go for the solution point in the middleware. So suppose I'm a hacker. Suppose I can hack your application somehow. So I'm using lot of tools in this browser wala computer, right? Through cross scripting, through anti-forgery token, through dependent, SQL injection, various way I will try to inject something negative, so that in this server one exceptional situation should occur. What do you mean? Like I ask you enter the name. Instead of entering my name, I will inject some database command and I will try to hack your database. That is called anti-forgery, or we say it as cross scripting or injection. So due to that injection of the negative things, some exceptional situation occurred in this server. Then that exception thrown an error and it will come to browser again. Have you seen? You are typing something and suddenly some red color server error etc. come in the browser. That time, if I'm a really good hacker, I can use some tools here in this browser level. I can catch those error related informations, and you will be surprising to know that error object, what is thrown from the server, it will be having lot of configurational information from here. Which IP address, what DNS, what website name, what database name, what connection string, what user ID password they might have used. Various secure information also can be transported along with that error object. So 90% of the hacking was by injection, and injection always throws one error object to the client, and through that client we are able to hack many things in the server side. 90%. Only 10% is here and there, but 90% was due to this. So in 2010-2011, when Microsoft thought, chalo, let's go for operating system independency, because before only Windows was supported, they wanted some drastic changes in .NET to go for .NET Core as a bigger feature of operating system independent. Instead of only Windows, it will support Linux, Mac, this, that, including Android, iOS. That was the main dream. But they thought, if you are going for a drastic changes already from .NET Framework to .NET Core, why not this bigger problem also will solve, security point of view. So 95% of a feature they brought in .NET Core related to operating system independency. But we can say 5-7% additional thing they brought in the security also. Two major things. One is routing, one is middleware. Two major things. In fact, in .NET Framework also routing was there, but little advanced routing they provided. That means going through in our whole course, if 95% we are focusing on the platform independency, some 5% will also focus on the security. So this feature what I am telling now, called middleware, it is resolving this security feature. That means in security age, people are easily hacking, man. They are just raising a error here, and that error is being captured by some tool, and that tool is informing me everything about that server, including connection string of the database, man, user ID, password, everything. So how to solve that problem first? Anti-forgery or token hacking, as well as injection of the DB related scripts or anti-forgery scripts. How to solve that problem first, they thought. And along with they gave the other platform independence features. So don't you think equally important to know security? So what they did, they said, chalo, let's change this architecture. We will not go for this way. Not directly HTTP, request, HTTP response, etc. Okay, we will do something extra here. So little bit I will scroll it up and I will tell you how they thought in .NET Core. Then easily you can understand what is middleware. So in .NET Core, they said, okay, here your browser is there, here your server is there, no problem. Browser is requesting, server is responding, that is fine. But in middle, they brought something called middleware. In middle, there's something called middleware. They said, without interference of that middleware, my request should not reach to the server at all. Okay, so this is my browser. So this is my browser now. As per new technology, new version of the .NET, which is .NET Core, this is our server. And little 5-10 minutes extra will take today, right? First class, little bit it went for introduction. So 5-10 minutes extra will not take more than that. So here now request came, suppose. Sure. So here request came, suppose. Now this request is not going to hit directly to the server. First it will hit to the middleware. So this is your middleware. Program.cs. Program.cs is the middleware. Now middleware says, wait, who are you? What is your user ID? From where you come? In 1 microsecond, how many requests you are raising? Are you a robot or what? So lot of things will be checked here in the middleware. That's why I made it red color, okay? So middleware says, I will not let you go there to the server, man. Wait, I have something called cloud technology also here. Where you will go? I will cross-check everything. So something called Active Directory, Azure Key Vault, many things. So in general, I will say Azure, or simply I will take the name of cloud, because somebody may be using Azure, somebody may be using Amazon also, who knows, or Google Cloud. So something cloud. Now this middleware will say, wait, I have hundreds of services predefined in the cloud. Unless I will cross-check them, I will not let you go there. Wait here. That means this request will be first cross-verified by hundreds of services through either private cloud or maybe public cloud. Going forward, I will tell you that what is private cloud, what is public cloud, etc. But something called cloud. So when we say I'm learning .NET Core, learning .NET Core middleware, first thing is learning this services, middleware services. One services may be there, it will say, hey, give me your user ID password, where from you came. It will say, okay, my user ID is U001, my password is P001. Chalo, let me check in Active Directory of the cloud. Are you really part of our organization, or you are really in the part of the list of the users? If yes, that line is succeeded. That blue color becomes, suppose, succeeded. Green color, for example, just for your understanding. Then it will go to second service. Authentication, fine. You are really correct user ID password. But the page you are accessing, you are valid or not? Let me check. Your authorization, permissions, etc. So lot of services has been predefined in cloud services. We say it as open source services. So those open source services will be called by middleware. That means the request is still not yet to reach to server. If everything good, then only that request will hit to the server. Good from what angle? Now it might have checked user ID password, it might have checked the permission, it might have checked what data you are bringing while requesting input parameter. Is it something like cross scripting, injecting something, is it like that? All those things has written already in those services. In .NET Framework, those services was not there. If necessary, you have to write your own coding like 200 line, 500 line, etc. But here, they made it in build services. Hundreds, thousands of services, right? Now, if everything good, the request will enter into the server. That means 99% is sure that that injection will never happen now. But still 99% I can say, not 100. So still 1% chance is there. Somebody is very intelligent and he injected something, even though services are there, middleware services are there. That's why what this middleware will do, when you are responding from server, here again it will catch it through some various services. It will say, wait. What you are taking while going out of the server, it will say, he gave the input, one roll number, I have to pick the result of that guy from the database. I'm going with result. Now middleware has some services to cross check the result returned back. What was the problem in this area, guys? In this first problem was कि भाई some configuration layer things, IP address, user ID, password, connection string, etc. It was taking back towards the browser. Here it will say, wait, not only I will restrict to the request or input, I will also restrict to the output. I will not leave like that. If by chance everything good, it is returning back the result also, and that result is not permissible result, still it will reject it. It will say, hey, who are you? I think you are some robot or you are some hacker. You are taking my non-permitted informations. I will not allow. So here also chance is there to reject it. So rejection may happen from input from here itself. Rejection may happen from cloud itself. Rejection may happen from the response itself. That means all these filtrations from the security point of view, they applied. If everything good, by the way, if everything good, that means request also good, execution also good, response also permissible, then it will take, welcome guys, you are ready to take my output, what is permissible. So can I compare this red color box like a security guard of your apartment? You develop one apartment, but there is no security guard at the entry gate. Who is coming inside? Who is going outside? During coming also nobody is asking. During going out also, if one bag he brought, 2 bag he is taking. Imagine that is a courier guy. Nobody is asking. But you asked one security guy saying that, hey, you sit here. Your work is, if somebody is entering into, you have to check the identification. At least you have to ask which flat he is going to, who is the contact person, etc. Or cross-verify with that contact person by the intercom. Ki this guy is coming. Do you really know him? Should I send him to your flat? As well as while coming back one courier guy, you can cross-check whether he is taking the real right information or not. Right? Exactly like that, your middleware is working. So here in this program.cs, any application you go, raise the hand please. So the moment you are going to any application like console application, web application, Windows application, web services, you will definitely get this program.cs. That means unless your request will hit into program.cs, it will never go to your self-coding. Coding means what? Your instruction. Your instruction is sitting in the server. You give me roll number, I will give you the result. Where it is sitting? Now here it is sitting in the server, somewhere here. But before even that execution of the coding, your program.cs says, I don't have any coding, man. I have only services to be executed. Any service which is defined, that has to be executed. Just to cross-verify your identity, your existence, your permissions, your authorization, your authentication, and so on and so forth. So if everything good, then only I will allow you to go to your code base. So that means in console application also, never touch this program.cs. That means you keep it as it is. Don't worry, I will tell you what to write here. But in order to write your own code as a best practice, always right click your solution. That means project name. Go to add, go to class. Okay, you have to add your own class, guys, to write any coding. It doesn't mean that if you write in program.cs, it will not happen. It will happen, but not a best practice. Suppose I wrote class name as my class. Class is what? Now code base. Base of your code. Where you have to write your coding, that is called a class. Skeletal structure you understand first. Then we'll go in depth story. Right? That means I can say my class is my actual flat where I'm staying. And this program.cs is like entry gate where security guard is sitting, that red color box in my diagram. Acha, somebody will say, no sir, I will not follow you. I will write here itself the coding. Directly I will write the coding here itself. No problem. Who can stop me? Let's see. This is as equal as you are in the entry gate itself. you are making your bedroom, right? Which will be secure, you should make it in a different class so that it will be secure. If I am permitting it, it will be allowed to access. If I am not permitting it, it will not be allowed to access. Private, public, protected, internal, many things are there to give permission or not to give permission. But you are saying, bhai, even though those facilities is there, I am directly write the coding here. That means no security, nothing. Anybody is coming, he is able to meet security guard, na? But anybody is coming, is he able to meet you whereas you are sitting inside your flat? No. So security versus insecurity. So if you go to Google, you search on programming, somebody might have put a blog directly in the program.cs, but that is not a right practice, guys. Never do any programming from your code base here. What to write here in program.cs, I will tell you, right? But any code base from the business point of view, business development point of view, you should write in your separate class, skeletal structure. So my class.cs is our actual code base. However, program.cs is our entry point, just like here I said the red color thing. So what to write here so that it will cross verify various things for authentication, authorization, and so on and so forth. That slowly I will go on telling you, but this is for that purpose. Middleware activity. Slowly going forward, we will see what are all middleware activity we have to do. After that only it will permit in order to use any of the class libraries or user defined classes. Okay, so okay, anything you write, because we have not written anything as of now. So anything you write here, that is called user defined code base. Like for example, I want to write welcome to .NET Core. So directly you should not write like console.writeline welcome to .NET Core. Remember, there is something called function or method. That method you have to write here. If you think that method should be accessible here in the middleware, then you have to write it as public. Okay, little I'm taking your time more, but we will stop here. So public means permissible, private means not permissible. Now private, public, etc. came into picture. So I wrote public as a first program because I want really that should be accessible in the middleware. So public. Then what? Imagine you want to return some data. Then that data is defined through something called type of the data or data type. It may be integer, it may be string, it may be nothing. Nothing means void. I don't want to return anything to program.cs. In my diagram, this green color arrow mark I am talking about. What your middleware gives to program, that is called input. What your program gives return back to the middleware, that is called output. So this time I want to say that I am not giving any output to you. Whatever output I will display here itself, then it will come void. Then you have to write the name of the function. For example, suppose the name of the function is welcome. Anything you can write. I said welcome. Okay. So here I will say console. Console is a class, guys, predefined class given by Microsoft. .WriteLine. WriteLine means display something on the screen. And I will say welcome to .NET Core. Alright. If you see in old version, .NET Framework version, mostly you will see some public, void, main, etc. Right? That era has gone. No entry point called main function. Here entry point is middleware. That means simply don't allow everybody, cross check. If all good, then only allow it. So this time I made public, that means it is permissible outside this class, line number 9, right? So this is small function I wrote. I want to call this function here in this middleware. Okay. The first thing you have to do in the middleware is, if you are going to use some namespace, some class, if you see line number 9 is class starting and line number 7 is namespace starting. So in object-oriented programming, when it came in C++, it came this label, guys. this level. That means introduction of class, all the programs should be inside the class. But when advanced object-oriented programming came, they said, when we say apartment, chance is there in one apartment, 2 blocks are there, na? Block number 1, block number 2. That means inside the object-oriented programming, who knows, 2 classes might be there, 3 classes might be there, 10 classes might be there, and those 10 classes are interrelated. So why not you will keep inside a boundary called namespace. In some language we say package, in some language we say namespace, but in general it is called work area. That means imagine in real-time project, I have something called payroll system, I have something called manufacturing system. Payroll system is for employee salary, manufacturing system is for product manufacturing, but both are belongs to same organization. So I can create 2 namespace. So here I can say namespace, maybe payroll or payslip, so that when I want payroll related transactions and I want to say that this stakeholder should not access this area and this stakeholders should not access this area, because only HR people will come here and they do manipulation on the payslip, but right from the laborer up to managers, they should work on the manufacturing system. So I can do 2 namespaces. So after all, both are belongs to same organization, same company, same application, but 2 modules. So how many modules we can go for that many namespace? Each namespace is containing related classes. Maybe my class, maybe employee class, maybe product class, maybe vendor class, agent class, because they are all interrelated. They are manufacturing the product. Just for example. So why namespace? Now a big application might be having various modules. Each module should be a boundary, so that classes under that module should not be directly exposure to classes of other module. HR manager's module is payroll system. Manager, clerk, accountant, storekeeper, vendor, agent, laborer, they're all doing the manufacturing. So why they will interact each other, right? There should be 2 different places. That's why namespace came. So unless you use this namespace there, unless you use the namespace there, they are not permissible to use, first of all. So came permission na? So you permitted explicitly saying that, hey, you use my information, ma'am. It is not internal, it is external. Now how to use them? You have to come to the class, always from top to bottom. First to cross the boundary, then you enter into building. Na? Same way, first to use the namespace, then you have to use the class, main class. How to use? Like this, main class, some object name equal to new main class, open bracket, close bracket, semicolon. I will get back to you guys if you have any doubts. So main class obj equal to new main class. But you can raise the hand, by the way. I will come to know that somebody has doubts. What is happening in this line? What is a new keyword here? Remember always, in future also, this word, wherever new keyword came, not only now, in future also, wherever new keyword came, understand that allocation of memory. That means something you are allocating to random access memory. Allocating all memory of the class to random access memory. Every laptop, every system will have one main memory, right? Random access memory. So it will allocate into that. Just for example, that means inside that server or computer, wherever you have that program, it is allocating that memory, obj. So suppose this is my obj and it is allocating here inside this, okay? This is my obj, for example. That obj has been allocated the memory. What memory? Now whatever you might have inside the class, it will allocate to that. Alright. So this name is obj I gave. Imagine inside this class you have couple of things like one data called name. Going forward, I have a chapter called data types and typecasting. There I will teach you what is string, what is integer, what is decimal, but currently I'm just taking as an example. Okay, like that. Name equal to, let's say, ABC Limited. Okay, something like that. Welcome to ABC Limited or welcome to anything. So this will take some memory. This will take some memory. So whatever combined together they take memory, right? They will provide that much. Imagine 20 kilobyte memory. So 20 kilobyte is sahi. So here they will provide all memory allocation to this particular block. Outside I wrote, but actually it will be inside that computer itself where you are running the program, right? Okay. Now out of this also something can be accessible here, something cannot be accessible here. Totally up to you. You said ki bhai, everything is public, but this is private, man. I don't want to give this ABC Limited outside my class, so make it private, no problem. Whichever is accessible, make it public. Whichever not accessible, make it private. That means this OBJ cannot access this guy, but this OBJ can access this guy because you are putting this data inside that OBJ. You are saying that this cannot be accessible. See how? Let me show you. Suppose I want to show, call that function just like this, obj dot whatever function name is welcome. It will say most welcome, no problem. I can call you, I can execute. But tell same thing here, obj dot that variable name. What is that variable? This is called variable, okay? Variable means data. So let me show you here. It will say, who are you? Who is this name? I don't know. So it is recognizing welcome, but it is not recognizing name. Why? Because private means restricted. So all this security came into picture now. In old time, if you go 30 years back, this facility was not there. Slowly they came one by one step over. C++ said up to this, at least class. Now Java, C#, Python, etc. they said one more boundary before this. So unless you use this boundary, you cannot use this. Unless you create the allocation of the memory for this, you cannot use this. Unless make it public, you cannot use this. So 3 levels of security they provided. That's why name I cannot access, but that function I can access. Right? So should I comment this line? And I will say you cannot access because of security level. So here security didn't allow. This is called object oriented programming. Why so? Because this line number 5, obj is nothing but the object. Object is necessary to call any element, and access modifier means this private, public, etc. is necessary to provide or not to provide. That means permission. So combine together everything, allocation of the memory which is permitted, that is called object oriented programming. Because because object is required to call the function. Function is required to use the data. Unless data will be used, execution of the program cannot happen. That's why indirectly saying whole control of this program is going to the obj, and obj is managed by middleware, which was not in .NET framework. They introduced in .NET Core. In .NET framework they say, by middleware is not there, there is no entry point, security guard is not sitting. That's why what we have done, we have just put one gate called main gate. Whoever wants to go inside, go through that main gate. But now they said no main, nothing, void main and all not required. All cloud services are present. If by chance we want any extra application, extra security, extra validation, we will call those services. So suddenly I'm not jumping to cloud services, guys. Slowly we'll go. Today what I taught you is, you have a security guard, but that security guard is permitting everybody. Okay, it is just cross checking. It is saying, hey, do you have access, private or public? It says, yeah, I have. Okay, go ahead. Not even a single cloud service I'm using today. detach this cloud for today, for few classes, right? When we will enter little basic level, how to write a program, how to execute it, how to display it, etc. Then slowly I will add one by one cloud service that is called middleware services. Okay. So imagine you are going .NET Core interview somewhere. They don't have much time to ask much question. They have only one question to ask. Remember, they will ask on middleware. Okay. If they have only 2 minutes to ask a question to you, they don't have much time. They want to ask a question, then they will ask on middleware. So it is that important. So middleware is the only difference from the security point of view, you can say, comparing to .NET Framework and .NET Core. Because routing was there in .NET Framework. They enhanced the routing in .NET Core. But middleware was not at all there. They adopted it only for .NET Core. So those cloud services, what we will be learning little, how to authenticate, how to authorize, etc., how to allow session, how to restrict session, all those things we will see slowly. But today we are in console application, very beginning level. So we have to understand what is minimum things possible without cloud services. So now let's see how it is going to execute. So let me write here console.read key. We are almost done. I will now run it. That green color button, if you click, it will run the program. First it will compile, then it will run. So as per our requirement from the programming, whatever we have written, don't you think it is supposed to come first middleware, just like this diagram, and then it will allow inside, then it will go to that main class. Inside main class, it will call a function called welcome, and inside that welcome, there is a sentence called welcome to .NET Core, and so on and so forth. So that means as a whole, I'm expecting welcome to .NET Core in the screen. Not a big deal. You could have written that in the program.cs itself, but you should not, because you have to follow a standard. So that if you follow this standard, then at least tomorrow you can say that, hey, this is not private, not public, man, it is protected. But if you don't follow the standard, you say that, array, output has to come now, welcome to .NET Core. Why all this tam jam? See, right here directly console.write welcome. But where you have the permission for making something private, public, protected, restricted, don't allow it sometime, all those things not possible. That's why programming is not a big deal. Best practice in the programming is a big deal. So never write any source code, any of your predefined business related development inside the middleware. Middleware should use for middleware. That means never make your bedroom near to entry gate. Go to your building and make your bedroom. Ask security guard to sit there, no problem. But you don't sit and start making it as a study room. Nobody says no, but it's not a best practice. Exactly like that. Never write your own coding in the middleware. Middleware is for entry point. In entry point, how the things is happening, you have to make it happen that way, right? So we will continue. Its introduction is a little bigger topic. So tomorrow, anyway, we are connecting at the same time, and we will continue remaining the part of the middleware also, because it's a bit bigger topic. I will stop here. Anybody has any question, you can ask me, guys.